Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday. It's December the 9th. This will be our chart lesson for today. Really interesting day. We had this huge sell-off in the overnight. The regular market opened right in here somewhere, and that meant there's a gap between where it closed yesterday and where it opened at 8:30 this morning. And generally, those gaps will be filled. We did one more retest of the low after this break here, and then it was all uphill the rest of the day. And guess what? This market changed, closed almost unchanged, maybe down a point after all that movement, after 38, after a 20-point drop, and the market changed basically unchanged. Crazy. Um, but we started selling off yesterday early, and this was just a continuation of that sell off. But it looks like um, we closed unchanged. So where we'll go from here, we'll just have to see. But interesting day, and we spent most of the morning in this trading range down here, and then we filled the gap. Had a little two-tiered trend on the way back up to fill the gap. So uh, for the most part, you had to trade this following the range rules. It really wasn't apparent it was a range um, until we bounced here these two times, and you can see we had some support over there. We broke lower, then we broke lower, but most of the resistance was right across here. But then we started finally working higher and broke through there and headed up, and so that's what I saw today. But you spent most of the morning in a trading range. Um, and here we were looking for prices to make a new low on a retest, and we got that. Um, but let's talk about the trades I saw, and then we'll move on. But the first trade I saw was, I think this was around 7 o'clock. You can see right around the 7:15, 7 o'clock hour. Um, there's a little double top there. Notice prices tried to go up once, made a lower low, tried to go up twice, made a double top and turned down. The fact that that broke lower right there, you probably wanted to wait on this bar, um, but you really could have gone short right there because it's a double top and this is a huge down move. There was a measured move down to here, but the fact that we had this perfect channel working down and we overshot it here, it makes, usually when that happens, if we shoot on down again, you would think we'd get a measured leg down. We didn't end up doing that, but this was so steep. Um, but anyway, you're still thinking that prices are going lower here and maybe going to make a measured move. And even though it didn't make a measured move, it's a huge move, or not a huge move, but a big move down. Really quick, nice, easy move. Any runners would have been safe. And then you get another second entry short right here. Um, and again, you're pushing lower below this. So I really thought we might push on down. Then you come back and you get a little second entry short. This one's a little, it didn't quite break higher, but notice you're moving up, you push down, and then you get some overlapping bars and you push down again. So it's similar to a second entry short. The main thing is it's right off that trend line. And and this time I really thought we were going to go on lower. You did get a good move down, but it reverses in there. So this is that, we're finding support in that area of 2038. And if you go back, I don't know, well, I'm not going to go. I don't know how you go far you go back. We've had support in that area before. So it was all downhill to begin with, and then we finally got a break here. And you're looking for a chance to go short. You got a little smaller channel here and a break and a new high, but when it bounced right here, and it came back and it bounced there again, and you draw this one off the top and drag it down, it fits perfect. So I think we had a slightly larger channel there, and this was the first break. Um, I went back and forth whether or not to make this green, but notice this new low. That's a first entry pullback. There's like a failed second entry short. It's right off the EMA, right off that trend line, and and so it's like a short trap. Even though this worked for a short, it's still like a short trap. I liked it to the long side, and quick, easy move. And then we start coming down. You get a first entry long, a pullback, a second entry long. But notice we had a close outside and a new high, so you had to be careful here. So I think you were better off just to sit tight here And then when you get the failed second entry long and it turned down, because you're looking for a retest anyway, and nice move down, then it comes back, and now you get a failed second entry long, and it takes a minute to work through there, but then off to the races it goes, and you finally get your new low, and then so notice this is the first break, and I had a couple of comments today on the website, people saying, yeah, I got trapped to the long side and watched it sell off. Either I was waiting on a retest and it didn't come, and I missed the longs. You don't know when that retest is going to come, so if you get a chance to go long that fits the rules, take it. But just be patient. Even if you don't do anything but sit here, just be patient and wait on this thing to prove that it's over. And you can tell it's going lower now. And you really could have entered again right here if you wanted to. Notice it broke higher again. But I just think it's risky going short into that support because too many times it'll bounce there. So, but if you wanted to, you could have gone short there. Okay, had a slight interruption, but yeah, you could have considered entering here. Notice it went lower and then went back and then turned. It's like a little breakout pullback short, but I was a little bit leery of it since we'd had support right across there, and you see it tried to bounce right there, but the market was just too weak. So, you know what? I'll make that one green because if you weren't in yet, you probably would have really considered entering there. You're looking for the retest on the new low anyway, so their odds are there that we're going to work down to this point or lower, and so I'm going to go ahead and mark that one green. I really think you were better entering up here, but still, there's no reason you couldn't enter right there. Then you had your bounce. It was tempting to go long right there, but it's so close to that high, and you get a little break there, but notice it pushes on up, and then you get that little trap right there. So you might have considered going long there. I think that's too risky after that big of a move, even though it would have worked. And then you get a first entry short, pull back, and then you get a little failed push up and second entry short right there. And so I like that trap. And then it tries to go higher again, and you get another chance. And you got room to get out before you get here, just enough, easy scalp. And then it bounces. And you could have considered going long there, but there's just so much overlap that I thought it was too risky. And again, you get back to this high, and you get a little bounce and a little break lower. But it's just a first entry, so you don't get a second entry up here. So it was really tempting to go short right here. But I think you got to wait on a second entry off the high, and you never really got that break higher, even though that is like a second entry right there. So, but there's just so much overlap there. I think it's really risky. And then you get a little bounce here, and you get a second entry, but you've already moved so low now, and it bounces and turns back down. But I just think it's really risky with everything being back above the EMA. You are looking for prices to maybe come back down here because it looks like a range, but I think you need at least a failed second entry long, and you get one right there. But again, you're just kind of hung up in, look how flat the EMA is getting. This is just a little trading range here, and I don't have the lines on there. Let's draw them just so it always makes it clear, so you can kind of see what's going on. And this is just a little trading range. And it's so tight, I just don't think it's very safe to try to trade it. So I like that short and I like that long because then it's pretty obvious. But prior to that, that's when it really became obvious. Right here, it really was kind of obvious that you had some strong resistance right there. So you might have thought about entering there. It did break higher first and then turn down. See if there was enough room. I don't know if there's enough room to get out. Your entry would have been 42.75. So you just don't quite have enough room to get out. By waiting on this entry, you get the failed breakout, and then you get to enter a lot higher, and you get plenty of room to get out. And then you get of course, it breaks out the low side and fails, and then goes out the high. And so you got two failed breakouts there and a chance to get in on them. And you don't really get a chance to enter again here. Notice this is a new low. It's lower than that low. So first entry pullback. There's a little failed second entry short off a double top, a little failed break higher. So that's a trap. I like that one. It's right off of that trend line that you drew off these first few bars here. Notice those first few bars and how I drew that trend line right off of them. And that's failed second entry short. It's right off that trend line. Chance to go long. And that was, and then you kind of went into this trading range. We came off the high side, so I think it's really risky going long there. And then you kind of get a little double bottom. But again, I don't think you want to go long because you overshot here. It would have worked, but you're better off. And then when you get the little third bounce right there, notice that low, and that's like the little double test. I liked it then, even though it was just enough to get a scalp. You know, you couldn't get anything extra out of that one, and then it turns down and it bounces right off. I don't like that first entry. There's a failed entry short there that you could have thought about, but I think you better wait on the second entry, and it turns down and breaks lower and then goes back out the high side. You can go long there, and then you get the failed second entry short, and so now you got the trap, and you can really jump in there and look at it go. And I didn't mark anything after that. But it's a clear channel down, a break, a new low, and then a clear two-tiered channel up on the way in the afternoon. Although we did really spend most of the morning in what looks like a trading range. Your support was really, your main support was right around here at 2038, 2038.50 or so. Maybe even a tick lower right there. Yeah, I like it better right there. It seems to fit better. You get more touches and get the closes right across there. And these things will move around kind of as the day goes on. You might have had it down here a little lower early on. And then as you kind of worked up or worked down, you kind of move it around. But I like that. It fits really well right there. And that catches these last two. Notice how the closes are all above that line, except for that one tick there. So that's what I saw today. Not a lot of trades today, but and you had to really draw your short-term trend lines, and that's what I always tell people. Put these lines on here because, you know, this is hard to see right in here as a trading range unless you put the lines on there. And then if you don't have these lines on here, you wonder what's going on right across here. Look how much different it looks. But when you put the lines on there, then suddenly everything kind of pops out and you realize, oh, there's resistance across there and there's support across here. So draw those lines. They really help keep you on the right side, especially these shorter term trend lines. And most all of them work. If you use this one, you got the break and two legs up. If you use this one, you got the break and one leg up. You're moving down here, you get the close outside, move to a new low. And then you got this one moving up, a break, move to a new high. And I don't have anything drawn here, but you can see that one working down the close, move to a new low, and then it bounced. And that might have led you to go long right there, but I still think that congestion makes it iffy. Same thing here, working down, you get the break. Oops. Attempt to move to a new low. We couldn't get there because of this trend line, and then it bounces. And here you got one working up, you get the break, move to a new high, and then you're working down, and I guarantee you there's one down. It's probably a little steeper here in the break, and move two legs to a new low, and then it bounces. So draw those shorter term trend lines because they really will help you. And they make everything pop out, and it makes more, you know, you can obviously, I mean, there's a reason prices are doing what they're doing. And if you find the lines in the right place, you know why prices are doing what they're doing. And so, anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow on Wednesday, but that's it for today. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.